Woo!
Welcome back. Welcome back to All Things Parking with Dani and John.
Are you sure that's your name today? You were kind of early.
I was early. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm actually really, I was going to ask. I was going to say, hey.
Like you were early. That never happens.
Well, because in full disclosure, I did text our next guest, was like, hey, I'll come down and get you, but he actually beat me here. So he just waited.
Early.
He was early, and then I followed him. And so
you were late to your probably prearranged meeting with him, but then you were early to this, which is shocking.
Yeah, I mean, I was here. I was in the studio by 3:30.
I think we need to give. I think that's a round of applause. What do you think, Seth?
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Oh my gosh. Oh, there they are.
You. All right. Well, without further ado, I want to introduce our next guest. I'm so excited to have him here.
Wait, before you do that, what is the title? I mean, what are we doing today? You're the boss.
This is you named this episode.
I did? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I think we're talking about rising stars today and people with great ideas and entrepreneurs. It's kind of where we were last week.
And you hold this topic like near and dear to your heart.
Obviously, I could sit and talk about this all year. Every episode would be named this, but I think it's good to have a platform and share the successes, because I think people want to hear about some of the people that are successful in starting a business. It's not easy. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I agree. So. All the way from LA, we got in the studio today, Mr. Ethan Glass, co-founder and CEO of Ocra. Ethan, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Woo! Crowd going wild here.
Ethan, welcome to the Mile High City. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio today.
Thank you for having me. It's exciting to be in Denver for the first time. And
really? First time?
First time.
What? This is your first time in Denver?
I am, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Holy.
Already
you
learning
live
something
in LA?
new.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Chicago and then moved to LA 8 years ago.
Okay. So for some reason, I thought you were an East Coast, like Pennsylvania guy. I don't know where I got that, but Chicago, okay. LA, wonderful.
Ethan, I mean, I know, a lot of people in the industry right now do know who you are because you have created an incredible solution. I mean, one that obviously we use a lot, that we were really excited to hear about. OVG.
Yeah. Okay.
we use a lot. When we first heard about your solution, Joe and I obviously were so excited. And I think the first time that we met was formally was at IPMI in Fort Worth about a year ago.
Yeah, just about.
We were like, when we heard what you were doing, what you and the team were doing, we were like, we have to sit down and we have to talk to them like ASAP, right? We're a really small team, small but mighty. And so we knew the second that we heard what you were doing, we needed this solution because we knew it was going to make our life, our team's life a lot easier. So if you want to, I don't know if John is very familiar with exactly the solution, what Ocra does, but we'll get there in a second.
But our audience isn't, that's for sure.
No,
so
we'll get there. But Ethan, we want to know a little bit about you. How, I've personally heard your story a few times and it's incredible. Give us the elevator pitch. How did Ocra come about?
Longer story.
Yeah.
So I'll share some of it in the sound bites here. But ultimately, I mean, I didn't grow up in parking. I grew up in a family business that sold office products and school supplies. So based out of the Midwest in Chicago, it started as a pencil company and then grew into like desks, tables, chairs, etc. That's what I did growing up. Very similar relationship-driven industry where everyone knows each other and kind of things are solved with newer technologies that are coming to the space. And so I ended up getting recruited to play soccer out in Los Angeles. That's what brought me out there. And then to study media. And ended up finding a fit in the parking space with my co-founder, Nate, who was a soccer teammate of mine. And we said, hey, let's go try and solve this problem by the LA Coliseum. Built a reservation system to try and compete with the aggregators in the space. learned quickly that we could not spend the marketing dollars and try and catch up to what Spot Hero Park was Park Mobile and all the companies have accomplished. And so fast forward, I was graduating from Occidental and looking to see what I was doing next. Was it in project management, user experience design, or try this company? And found a futon to crash on by the LA Coliseum. Some USC kid was leasing out his apartment for $150 a month, which was a...
Wow.
$150 in LA?
$150 a month. Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't a great place.
Oh, of course not. But you know what? Sometimes that's what it takes, right?
Yeah, when you show up and you have cockroaches all over, holes in the wall, and 8 roommates, it adds up. But it was great because I could walk to the Coliseum every single day. And then they built the BMO Stadium next door to play soccer for LAFC and do some concerts. And so I would just work with the homeowners that were using cardboard signs to sell their backyards, to sell parking, and then some of the surface lot operators nearby, and said, hey, let me just help sell parking for you and figure this industry from the ground up. And I don't want to assume what your problems are. I have to see what I can do to augment them. And that's how we kind of started the business and started off in parking ops. Fast forward, now we removed ourselves from parking ops in 2020 and really focused on this B2B software business that's helping operators and asset owners manage that third-party aggregator space. Everything from rate management to inventory, kind of like a GDS, but for parking, and a lot more in between there too.
That's pretty cool. So when you were sleeping on the cot and were you guys actually code? Like were you writing when you're solving these problems? Like you were actually building or doing, building whatever that terminology is. Were you building the software yourself around these problems? So
at first we decided to do no technology other than square readers. And so the big innovation in that market was, instead of taking cash for everything, we'd say, okay, let's bring the $10 square reader that we can get at Target and then plug it in, use the app, and try and collect that way. Then realized that a lot of the attendants we brought in were not the most altruistic individuals.
They were silent partners.
Silent partners, yes.
No, not in parking.
Right? I mean,
parking.
when you're taking cash, I mean, it's not, when there's a problem, when cash goes away, you know that there's a bigger problem at hand.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And
that's not the way I would put it, but
yeah. And so we did that for a while, and we started building small automations. So one of our friends from college, he came in, his name's Leo, and he came to me actually looking for help he was trying to get in user experience design and wanted me to look at his portfolio. And said, hey, do you guys have a job opening? I said, we park cars. No, we don't have a need for a user experience designer. But if you want to be a parking attendant, come by. And he texted me a week later, said, hey, let me show up and I'll park cars with you guys. And so he came by. He started building some of the technology early on as like an MVP. And then we had our original CTO, Alex Bedere. He also was a friend and investor in the space. And he came from Belgium, where he had built 6 or 7 companies before moving to the US, and he helped us build more of the technology originally as well. And so him, Leo, and then we had another friend of ours, Julian from college, who was helping out in the earliest days.
Are they still in the industry? Are they still parking cars? Are they part of Ocra?
So
I know you guys don't park cars. I mean, you help what we do, but you're not physically operating.
They park cars.
You're not
They're
physically operating anymore. I mean, you do.
No, but everyone
parks
cars if you're in the industry in some sort.
In some fashion, yes.
You touch the car in a different part.
You don't park cars.
You're right. We don't actually park the cars, but we're part of the process.
You're part of the process, absolutely. Are they still in? Sorry, going back. Are they still in the industry?
Leo's still in the team.
Okay.
And Nate, my co-founder, is still obviously a big part of it. Alex is building his next companies. And so his whole thing was, he said to me from day one, I'm a 0 to 1 CTO. I will help you guys find product market fit, help you solve the original problem. Then I'll help transition in a CTO that can scale you guys. So he transitioned to Garth in 2021. And then Julian, who was originally part of it as well, early on went over to PayPal And so he's a product manager over there.
You know, it's funny. I always ask because I feel like people who get into parking, I mean, everyone gets into it by accident, right? And so I always wonder if they're still in it, because
So Ethan,
even when you leave, people always come back.
let me ask you, your whiteboard had to be the size, or probably if not bigger than your apartment at the time, right?
Yeah, if we had a whiteboard.
Yeah. I just know because I see, and I don't actually participate in, you know, how the structuring of the software and the changes, but part of some of the ideas that I am, and then there's there's an idea, and then there's a lot that goes into it behind it. So tell us about, what does that look like? I mean, where did you do these? Somebody had to come up with an idea, and then where does all this get mapped out? And was it on a concrete wall, somewhere outside, and then you take a picture if you didn't have a whiteboard?
Yeah, at what point were you like, this is how we're going to solve these parking issues with this particular solution? I mean, because obviously I know I listened to a few of your interviews before, and so you were parking cars. You saw this massive opportunity with the aggregators, right?
Wait, you cheated on us? You did any interviews before? Wait,
oh,
what?
This ain't his first round.
Oh my!
This is like,
gosh.
I think Ethan's more seasoned on podcasts than we actually are. So.
Okay.
But you saw this massive opportunity. Your parking cars. You're using you were using aggregators at the time, and correct me if I'm wrong. You guys were purchasing passes and using the neighborhood, like private property owners, obviously with their consent, to park cars, and then just charging a little bit more, right? That's how you guys were making up for you were kind of like leasing the spots.
Yeah, that's really well said. Yeah, we were multiple iterations. So at first, to be honest, we would go outside with a cardboard sign. This guy, Anthony, great operator, and he turned his home into a 18-space parking lot and was paying his mortgage on parking each year. Wow. And yeah, brilliant guy. Yeah. And I came to him one day and some of the others, and I said, every day we come outside with the cardboard sign at $50. Next door neighbor does 45. We go to 40, and it's just a race to zero. What if each kind of block partnered together on pricing, and then we all just park the cars together? And, there's market dynamics in South Central Los Angeles that wouldn't allow it to happen. So we did what you just said, and we started saying, well, let's just go lease out every space ourselves, as Park Place was our name at the time, and then we'll try and simultaneously sell and arbitrage the spaces. And so we did that, and the aggregators were the best part about it for us, because we could list online for $100, go buy the spaces for $30. It's a great arbitrage. But the biggest problem that we had was managing all of the different disparate and disconnected technologies, because it's a perishable asset. If you have 50 spaces, you have 50 spaces. And if we list out 100 and sell 75 out of the 50, we were going to that parking lot and saying, hey, congratulations, we're upgrading you to this home over here. Yeah. Easy out parking. I'd give the homeowner cash, but just park them on the sidewalk or grass,
wherever you can. Yeah. Wherever you can park a car, park this car.
Exactly. And so we did that for a while. And ultimately, we just thought we were the only ones with the problem. Our thought process was, every parking company who's been around for many years and who've been doing this longer than we've all been alive has figured this out. And
you quickly realized that wasn't the case.
Yeah. COVID had that effect where, event parking dropped to zero for us. And so we built a bot on LinkedIn and reached out to as many folks in the parking industry as possible and said, what problems do you have? What are your tech initiatives going forward, and how can we help? And this ubiquitous response we got was, this fragmentation's killing us. We can't manage all these technologies. Yep. And as we dove deeper into how people use the aggregators, we realized there was a huge opportunity in that space.
As an operator, you want to maximize, your revenue. So with, you pull up to a surface lot and you have all these different aggregators and signs, and I get it, I understand, but that's also really confusing for the customer, for the guest, right? But we want to be able to help, operators make as much money and capitalize as they can. And so I think
the visibility, I mean, that's what you bring for them. Visibility, being able to see, where it's all coming from, who it's coming from.
Well, from an operator perspective, the visibility is incredible.
Being able to shut it off, right? Can you shut it off from your software?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's key.
So when we first met with Ethan and his team, wonderful team, by the way. Wish we could have them all here in the studio with us if we could.
Yeah, they're much better at this than I am.
When we first met, we were like, wow, so you guys, you aggregate the aggregators. And when we realized that's exactly what, you do and a lot more, but with that being your main focus and helping inventory management and maximizing revenue, it was a no-brainer for us.
Okay, so Ethan, I did a little cheating before, but tell me about omni-channel and what that is. And it sounds like, number one, a competitor of mine. So I didn't like it at first, but no, I'm kidding. But we're not talking about, OmniPark.
Yeah, they're
not really a competitor, but yeah, I get it. But omni-channel. So tell us, what is omni-channel? I think it's kind of something like a hub where everything comes in, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's multi-channel and allowing you to list on all the available distribution channels for parking. So that way, it's a big problem for the operators to use multiple systems because the inventories don't talk to one another without a solution like Ocra involved. And so they might want to use more channels to sell their parking, but they can't manage all of them individually. And so it's also a problem for the aggregators or channels in our space because they want more access to the inventory, but they can't get it because the operators, the cost of managing them is more than the benefit they get out of using it. So we allow for all of them to be managed in one place, and that's kind of the omni-channel approach.
So you're like a pumper, a fire truck. A pumper is where you can hook up to have different fittings and hook up to different water sources, right? And so let me ask you, the software. So if I was using, I get all the aggregators, I get all that, but what if I had like two garages and I had two different, like I had Tiba and I had Amano? Can I use your platform to pump all that data into one platform and have one dashboard that I could look at instead of going into multiple systems? Like, is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, that's really well said. So we don't interface too much with the parks today. So we do have some interfaces with them depending on the location. But yes, if you have two garages next to each other that are selling on Spot Hero, ParkWiz, Park Mobile, etc., you could use Ocra to visualize what the performance is on each channel, each location. You can see trends and patterns of advanced booking windows of when consumers are booking their parking versus when they're showing up on site.
So I could go on to Ocra and look at it all.
Yes.
So let me guess. One of the challenges is people don't want to play in the sandbox. So, right, if I had a portfolio of 10, well, Amano is going to say, "Oh, well, we have a good platform for not just Amano. I'm not picking. We could call it Brand X Parks Equipment."
You already said it. You might as well just roll with it.
I'm not picking on them. I'll say Tiba. I'll say Scheidbachmann, just so nobody thinks I'm picking on anybody. But let's just call it Brand X, right, and Brand Y. So they think they have a better platform for reporting, but really that's not their focus. It's an after, right? And so the challenge probably is getting them to share the data to you to provide that one-stop platform, right?
Yeah, so there's two ways that we handle that. One is that we can integrate and resurface their data in our platform. Or two, we could actually pipe them through the different integrations and data that we have through what we call our partner API. And so they could visualize it on their end. We don't need to be the face of anything. And so at Ocra, there's a lot of companies that use what we call our Rails components to use our integrations and send the data through our pipelines.
Right.
And so that they don't have to build and maintain all those integrations on their own. And they can showcase that to their clients.
So this gets me back to some of the previous episodes that we've had about this topic.
like data sharing.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I mean, we're like in the Stone Ages. We still have people that don't want to collaborate. It's clear. Our industry doesn't collaborate on a lot of things. We don't collaborate on legislative issues. We don't collaborate on a lot of different things. And other industries are so far ahead of us. And so I don't have to be like, there's people that, recognize our camera technology, our AI is better, right? I don't need to have our name out there. If you want to use our camera and white label it, we're okay with it. You're not going to win all the battles. So if I was brand X Parks and I had a customer that was using you and they said, hey, we love, the facing for whatever reason, we want your brand in this garage because it's the right personality, it's the right fit, but we don't like your reporting. We got a better, just give all the data over to them and they're going to be able to look at even if they do like my reporting, I don't have the capability of providing them with a dashboard that's got my competitors as well. So why not have somebody? I would open arm that. I'd be like, here you go. At least I'm in here.
And the thing about it too is that like, it's not, when you talk about not playing nice in the sandbox, right? It's not like any of the other competitors
I think it's more ego.
Well, I don't think it's like none of the competitors have access to this information. It's all about the operator. It's centralizing something. I think we were on a call, Ethan, with one of our venue clients, and they called it the Grand Central Station of data, right? That's where Ocra houses it all. And like we can disperse inventory management as needed, and we can adjust on a case-by-case basis, and we can take some from, aggregator X, give them to Y. If it's not selling, like we have all of that now in a centralized location versus having 6 different windows open and having to figure out, oh my God, like what inventory do we have open or have available right now?
I just think it shouldn't be a leveraged conversation where you have to go in and say, hey, either share the data with Ocra or you're out, right?
Right.
It should just be the company should say, you know what, I'm happy to be a part of this.
I think most do. I don't think so.
Well, you answer that because you probably have more experience. Yeah. Do most companies just say, hey, yeah, let's give Ethan all the data?
Do you get any pushback?
Yes.
You do?
Of course he does.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that answer. I don't know why.
It. Yeah. So when we met 3 years ago at Pi for the first time, you brought that up to me is who's going to allow you to integrate? And that was right when we were pivoting the business, and that was our first show. And yeah, we've gotten a lot of pushback from almost every single channel. And
why? It's really bothersome to me.
So there's the conversation of willingness and there's the conversation of ableness. So some channels might be willing to integrate with Ocra, but don't have the open API infrastructure to actually do so.
Oh.
And then they might not want to admit that they don't have that capability.
Right. They get exposed. And so we've worked with a lot of the companies over the years, as we know, as our reputation has risen and as we've built better teams and better technology.
Exploded. Let's talk about that.
That's a nice way to put it.
Sounds better.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll say that for you.
I appreciate it. And so as we've grown to over 600 locations in a couple of years and gotten a lot of the partners to showcase success stories and also proven that we're a net positive for all these aggregator channels that work with us, we've been able to actually go into a lot of them and say, hey, can we help you build this integration from the inside out?
We've done that too.
Yeah. So we actually, we give them our engineers and we work with them to help them augment their technology versus trying to, dig up loads of tech debt that have been built over many years and get exposed. We want them to win out of this too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the better they do, the better we do. And
that's
then the
why
clients are happy.
We've been very careful about staying in our lane, staying focused on what we do best and not presenting ourselves as a competitor, right? I'm not trying to be a operator. I'm not trying to be a park system. Exactly. I have a specific focus. That's what we do best, and that's what we're going to stay with. We're not going to try to add on all these things because I think that's when the wheels start coming off. So we're just focused on that. So before we move on to some things, what are like 3-4 bullet points? I mean, you're an entrepreneur that's successful now. you're getting more successful by the day. So there's people listening and they're going to have ideas in the future. They're going to want to branch out. I mean, what are 4 bullet points that you, not to put you on the spot, maybe it's 3, but
like to give
from your experience, like what are 3 or 4 important things that you think are important and have helped get you to where you are today? If
you could give advice to somebody just starting, or, even them just thinking about having, an idea how to move that forward.
Definitely. So it completely depends on the company, the industry, the sector, what stage they're at, based on the advice. But I've been fortunate to have a lot of mentors in the parking industry and outside who've helped showcase to me how to grow the business. And I've been able to pay that forward and mentor some others building their own businesses inside parking and outside. And ultimately, go ahead.
So collaboration,
yeah. It takes a village to raise a company.
Absolutely.
Anyone who tries to do it on their own it's just not possible. You need to divide and conquer. Like we like to say, it's better to have 50% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape.
Totally agree.
Yeah. And so by having that approach first of let's work together to solve something, let's create new margin versus trying to chip away at existing margin. And if you add something of value, then you find some way to extract some other value and you can build a good business off of that. And if you treat people right along the way and you act with integrity and, build partnerships, like everyone will make you better as you make them better.
Right.
I love that.
Good. Collaboration.
Yeah, I love that.
Number 1. Number 2?
Number 2. Okay.
Actually, there were several in there that I could extract out. So collaboration, having integrity, doing what you say you're going to do. That's part of that. Relationships, right?
Yeah. Staying focused too.
Staying focused.
Yeah. John, you said it earlier. It's if you stay in your swim lane and you make sure that you do what you do best, then there's a lot of opportunity. And, staying focused is tough. There's a lot of shiny objects that will always come into play. But if you keep your team aligned towards that vision and you say, hey, this is what we're doing. And, you can run some experiments here and there and work with others to see how that plays out. But if you really stay in your lane, there's a lot of growth opportunity, and then other companies will respect that and help you grow there.
I agree.
And then you pick great partners like Oakview Group and Dani, and they help you get better each time you talk to them and learn new use cases and instances. And you try and learn from that feedback and bring it to the team. And we try and bring all the information from the sales side and customer success side back into the organization so that Sarah can use it for marketing, and then Megan can use it for activations, and our engineering team can use it on the product side. Right. And that helps create more of a flywheel effect of, okay, let's use all the information from outside of our business to grow our business.
Right.
Flywheel, that could be like, we're talking about automobiles maybe, and it could be like fishing, right? A flywheel. Like, what do you think? John? I don't fish. Yeah, no. You think I fish?
I don't know. Sometimes you surprise me. Do you
think I would ever have the patience to sit in a boat and fish? And just relax out somewhere?
No. It sounds nice. I don't either, though.
That is not my...
Anyways, all right.
Paintball or something like that is my relax.
Just out targeting people?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. In a friendly paintball competition.
That should be your
next... We should do that. There's one down in Sedalia.
No, you can count me out. But maybe your next, like your office Christmas party or something. Yeah. Like team building. I feel like that would be really great.
Why would we count you out?
No, you
can wear a helmet. They got pads. It doesn't hurt.
I don't.
We can turn the rifle down a little bit.
I used to paintball a lot when I was younger because I grew up in a very small town, as I've talked about before, and not to go totally off track, but I'm actually okay at paintball, so I don't want to take everyone out. That would be fair.
All right, no paintball.
So Ethan, kind of to extend off of what we those points, and Ocra, you guys have, as a team, have been very successful are still very successful, are still climbing, and have been successful in a very short period of time. Let's talk about the acquisition, like opportunities that have been, I don't want to say thrown at you to be acquired, but how many opportunities would you say you have passed up so far?
That's a great question.
You don't have to name names, just how many opportunities?
I had a running joke with Brian Wolf from Parker Technology for a while, one of our board members and investors. And there was a long time where almost every week when we talked, it was about who else tried to acquire us.
Yeah.
And
sure.
That's great.
He was like, it's a good signal when every week someone else is trying to get involved. And we've had a lot. And a lot of the companies that have tried to come in and acquire us, we've said, hey, let's date before we get married. If you want to invest in the company, we are agnostic. We're kind of Switzerland. So add value by investing in the business and become part of what we do. And if it makes sense down the road, then we're happy to explore that conversation and do our fiduciary duty to the shareholders and all the good jargon there. And for us, it's just, aligned incentives with the right companies, and acquisition offers can kind of turn into great opportunities for partnerships and exploring if it's the right fit on both fronts.
That's awesome.
Right. So where are you in respect to you obviously have a goal, you started this business, you see what's the future? Where are you at on, if you look at a mountain, are you halfway up there? Are you a quarter of the way? What does it look like? What's your
entire vision for Ocra?
What is your end goal?
In 1 minute.
Do you want to be in the parking business for 30, 40 years, or what's the end goal?
Right now, we're having a great time building. If I would say in terms of a mountain where we're at, we're still at the bottom. There's still so much room to grow. We found a really good niche in what we're doing, and we're growing fast, and we're importantly growing sustainably. We don't want to just throw too much at it too fast and then lose who we are as a company and our service and our delivery to our partners. And so let's keep growing. We'll always do what's right by the shareholders and by our partners and our team. And we'll see what the right jumping off point is, because every startup and every business has to look towards what the exit is. However, for right now, we've raised enough money that we're very comfortable growing, and the company's done quite well over the last couple of years. So if we keep growing at the rate we are, and we have people like Chris Everton spearheading as our COO, and he's brilliant and my much smarter half of the company.
He's so wonderful. He's a pleasure to work with. So
definitely,
yeah.
And
so that's smart. Scale up can bankrupt a new company, right? You could do so well and not figure it out, not be able to scale up, not be able to deliver, and you could actually bankrupt your company growing faster than what you can accomplish, right?
Exactly.
And
that's
it's
also
smart that you recognize that, of course. But
I have good mentors around me, and and our team's very aligned on, we don't want to be this $1 billion company. There's not enough room for us to be that in the space. It's setting wrong expectations with the team and the investors. And so anyone who invests in the company strategically, we say, hey, this is where we're looking to get towards, and this is what you can expect return-wise and timeline. And we're not going to pretend that we're going to be this unicorn. And there are companies that certainly can be, and they have to raise a certain amount of money to get there. But we want to make sure expectations are set from day one. So that way we're growing and not being this, too fast growing of a startup that has all this pressure from the outside and is not doing what's right by the business because they just have to hit metrics. For us, it's okay. We know what our goal is, where we're heading towards, where those kind of moon stops are. And along the way, okay, as long as we hit the metrics that we need to hit that matter to us and that we communicate to the investors and board, everyone's excited. So
right.
Yeah.
So what is the mix? Or you don't have to identify, but the amount of people on the board, how does that look versus ownership, and are you aligned? And because I think sometimes people can bring in so many people and they could fill so many seats that it becomes that also becomes a challenge, right? And when you're trying to steer and direct a company, and there's, there could be too many people in that room that could create a challenge. How have you dealt with that?
Yeah, it's an art and a science of managing your cap table, managing the board. And we've been very, very cautious of who we bring money in from. We turn down a lot of money consistently. And so we've had a lot of investors, fortunately, want to get involved in the business, and it's just not aligned for what they're looking to do. And how much control they're going to have. We want partners who are going to do what's best for the company and not just be thinking selfishly about how they can go take the company and swallow it up at one point. And so we've been very cautious to say, okay, who's the investors coming in? Are they the right fit for the business short-term and long-term? And we've been fortunate that all of them have proven that time and time again.
That's good. That can always be a challenge. Too many.
Yeah. Well, and congratulations. Like it's hard to be picky, right? Sometimes you don't want to be picky about, who you let in, but you have morals, you have values, and I love that the entire team is aligned. And so, I don't know, I would call you guys a unicorn because I don't think anyone is doing what you guys are doing. And I personally, as a, as a consumer of Ocra, and we use it across a lot of our portfolio, you guys are doing great things. And I know that you are going to continue to do great things.
Who are your competitors? Or are you, I get asked that a lot. So I'm always like, there's some people who think there are competitors, and then it shortens down. Your
actual competitors.
Then there's actual competitors, and that list becomes short. And you know why that becomes short? It becomes short because that shiny object that you talked about earlier, it's without fail. There's always somebody that gets a little success and a little wind under the sails. They look over the fence and see what somebody else is doing and says, oh, we can do that. And all of a sudden it takes you off your focus, right? So I think there's a lot of people that could probably say they think they do what we do, but at the end of the day, there's, the list narrows down to probably one or two, in my opinion, that stayed focused and do exactly what we do, right?
Yeah, exactly. And in our niche of the space too, we're relatively newer to bringing in a GDS type of solution to parking, a channel management solution. And so there have been some companies that have tried it, and candidly, a number of the companies have tried building it, ended up investing in Ocra, and then just realized it's better to buy in and be part of what we're doing than to compete against us.
Right.
And so that's also been...
What a great place to be.
We need a cheer for that. Hold on. Okay, crowd. Okay, quiet down. Quiet down. Okay. That was pretty, we got to calm the crowd down. Danny, who did you bring in today? These people are hooligans. They are. Listening to them. I mean, oh my God, listen to them.
What other kind of crowd would you expect?
I've only been out with you a couple times, so I'm a little worried looking at this crowd over here.
Oh.
Okay, what do we got next? We got, what excites you about the future of parking? Like, what is parking? What are we looking like? Which, by the way, we are gonna ask you what you're telling your parents. I think I've talked to you at Pie when we were, having a drink. But we always, that's part of being on this show is, what are you telling your parents?
Well, because you moved from Chicago to LA, and you went to college for media. You said, right?
Yeah.
So
we got media right here, baby.
At the end of the day, when you told your parents, hey, going to start a parking company, because you kind of did the parking gig as a side hustle while you were in school playing soccer full time, college ball, right?
Yep.
So when you're like, actually, I'm going to do this full time, were they? I mean, I imagine your parents are entrepreneurs themselves. What was the reaction?
It's an ongoing reaction.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
They're like, what are you doing? What are you doing
for
now?
me, it's still an ongoing.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I grew up in a family business that my grandfather had started, and so I would go to their office all the time, and it's parking to them is a little bit cooler and sexier than office and school supplies. So they're like, oh, you took a step up. But to them, it's still about, they've always asked me to come back to the family business. They understand that I'm doing my own thing, and they respect that, which is great. And the whole parking thing, they go, yeah, I guess it makes sense. Chicago is a big city for parking, and a lot of companies have been started there. So it's definitely an ongoing conversation.
Are you an only child?
No, I have a younger brother.
Oh, okay. So it's between you and your brother to come back and run the family business.
Yeah, I'm really working on getting Cam to go do it, and then my younger cousins too.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny because when you started out, you said your parents had a pencil company.
Yeah, my grandfather. Yeah.
Okay, I need to tell a story about the pencil company. So, when I was going to college,
Can't wait.
They bagged kegs. They said no kegs at
Wait, where'd you go
fraternity
to college?
houses.
Upstate?
Colorado State.
Oh, you went here? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, and I'm from New York, so I
know
came
upstate,
out here. Yeah.
I thought you went
Anyway.
upstate.
So they said no fraternities couldn't have kegs anymore. So we had these, which I thought was silly because people actually drank faster, quicker. We filled up straws with canned beer, so there was no more waiting in lines, right? And so
I can't wait to see how you relate kegs to pencils. This is very exciting.
Yeah, he's really building suspense.
Well, why do you? This is how my
So
brain
excited.
thinks. So the fraternity could not buy the alcohol. So individuals would go and buy the alcohol. So what I wanted to do is create a pencil company. This is serious. We would go buy. I wanted to create a pencil company that would provide pencils and pens to the fraternity house. Pencils and pens, and the fraternity house would overpay for the pencils and the pens. So in other words, we would go to, I'm sure Walgreens didn't exist back then.
I'm sure it did.
I don't know where we bought our pencils. It was probably, who knows? I don't remember
Staples.
that. Yeah. I don't remember that far back. There might
TG&Y?
not even have been a Staples.
Was TG&Y a thing here?
I have no idea, but the idea was this company, it was an LLC.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to go buy the pencils and pens, and then we would supply the fraternity. And then, if I paid $50 for this, they would pay, $2,000 or whatever.
Jeez,
That's right. And then we would take the extra profit and buy the alcohol, and the pencil company would donate that to the fraternity, which means the pencil company was the one that supplied the alcohol, which would be liable. That could be shut down at any moment.
What was the pencil like? What was the LLC like? Was it like John
It never
Conway Pencil
happened because
Company?
people were like, they didn't understand what I guess at the time. But
I mean,
I thought it was going to be a pencil company.
Pencil pen company. It's
providing beer
to provide booze. It's definitely a fraternity idea.
It's definitely a Conway thing.
It is. Was that your first stab at entrepreneurship?
Who knows?
I feel like it could have worked. It probably could work in today's.
I think it could have worked. I think I was ahead of my time.
Yeah, you were.
What do you think?
Absolutely. Well, look at where you're at now. Yeah. So, not selling pencils, but
we could sell pencils.
You could. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
And kegs of beer, because we know that there's
lots
no
of kegs of beer
there's
around
no shortage
here.
of that around here.
So, parking. Back to parking.
Sorry.
We're always back to parking. So, what are we talking about? I mean, what we talked about? What is exciting? What do you enjoy talking about?
There's so much in the space.
Oh, okay. We're talking parking. Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah. So like after,
later.
I mean, what do you? I mean, there's always a lot to talk about. But what's exciting? Probably every day. Take out your business and all the stuff that you're trying to do with your business. What else do you like to talk about parking?
I think parking's a really cool intersection of real estate, transportation, and multiple other larger industries where, we have a large part to play. And for many years, it's been difficult for other industries to communicate with parking because, as we talked about before, parking has struggled to communicate internally. Mm-hmm. There's been a lack of APIs, there's been a lack of data sharing, and all of that has been a big focus.
Yeah.
And so
we're getting better.
Yeah.
I mean, the Alliance for Data Standards, you remember that?
Oh, of course. How could I ever forget that episode?
It's an important topic. I'm not bashing it, but it was when you go and look at our ratings last year, that was the lowest of the 10 shows. But we didn't prepare at all for it, but we don't prepare for any
Nobody's
show.
listening to us to talk about
Alliance
for us to
Data
talk
Standards,
about, yeah.
But it's so important.
No, it is.
I mean, it really
absolutely.
is.
No, you're right. Like
we probably needed somebody else on that could talk about it better, but that's, communicating in a way where, you know, we're developing software and everything else and communicating in a way where it's not like, okay, all of a sudden you look at this plug and you go, where the hell did this come from? Right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I view it if I had to boil it up. And so I think we're getting better as an industry, and there's a lot of different, but we don't collaborate at all on anything.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's improving. I've only been here for a few years in parking, really. And so, but what I've seen is a lot more openness. And the truth is, the more that we are integrating with each other and getting out of this whole silo-ness approach, then we open ourselves up to expanding the TAM of all of parking and having the rising tide raise all ships, because we can talk to the larger tech companies, we can talk to the real estate companies and the hotel groups and all these other sectors that rely on our space heavily.
Yep.
But
totally agree.
Don't want to go build integrations to 45 different technologies and talk to 150 different operators and consultants and everyone. They just want somewhere to go to.
Yep.
Exactly. I mean, so that is what he just boiled it up to, what Alliance Data Standard is trying to do.
We should have had you on that episode as well, Ethan.
But I think it goes further than that. It's not just about the data. I mean, you and I are data people, but
data's a
it's
big
also
part.
it goes to the whole message of collaboration.
Absolutely.
Because there's people faced with the same situations or same challenges that I have with government regulation and all that kind of stuff. And it, you know, I mean, you can say we're going to this and all these fancy terms, mobility and, you know, right, all this stuff. And I mean, when it boils down to it is there's challenges that we're all going to face as we move into those fancy spaces with technology that are going to, we're all going to have the same challenges. And I think we should all collaborate, because that's what it's going to take, and probably more. We're probably going to have to collaborate with other industries to I shouldn't say fight the regulations, but help people understand. That's a better approach. Help people understand, help our politicians understand, you know, what exactly is going on. Because the public, so far, I mean, if you look at the way the parking industry's gone and the technology over the last just a short amount of time, in 5 years, the public struggles with realizing, oh my gosh, wow, really? That's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, right? That's a whole different space. And then too, like a lot of the companies like OVG recognizing and bring Danny, you and Joe and your team on, like bring a parking perspective to a big venue company and trying to bridge that gap is a brilliant approach, because you all are parking experts and you can bring this unique lens in. And so the more that we can get the parking industry in and outside of ourselves, and you can probably speak to it, like parking is a large part of venues, but it's only a small part in terms of...
It's only a small part, right? Like and you're absolutely like, it's only a small part, and we're the first and the last, you know, impression of a guest experience, right? It starts from when they're in their car to getting to the venue, to getting out to parking. And then what happens in between, we still want to be a part of that experience. And so we understand not only what happens on the outside of the venue, but we understand what goes on the inside of the venue. And so when we look at what we're bringing, you know, when we're bringing partnerships and you know, to our venue partners, we most certainly look at the inside as well, you know, versus just looking at the outside of it. So.
And so how can companies like John's and mine help companies like yours and others that are tackling a problem where parking is just not the largest priority?
The tables are turned.
Yeah.
Ooh, Ethan asked you a question.
I know. I love it. No, I love this.
Do you have an answer?
Yeah. No, you know, I honestly do think that it starts obviously with great partnerships, right? One thing about, you know, we have partnerships throughout the industry. We have a partnership with Ocra. We have a partnership with PRS. We have a partnership with multiple aggregators and other even compliance companies. And I think it's all about the partnership and what the partner is willing to do and bring to the table. And a partner who's easy to work with is probably one of the best assets one of the best partnerships that we could bring to an asset, right? Because all of our assets have different, every venue has their own app or they have their own, dashboard of some sort. And so bringing a partner to the table who's willing to work and integrate and bring their own ideas to the table really, I think it brings a lot of value to what we do, because our partners are also willing to understand what goes on the inside and not just the outside. And that hasn't always been the case. It's like when we work with different partners, it's like, hey, this looked bad on the outside. And because it looked really bad on the outside, now it has an effect on the inside. And we need to figure out how we can fix this, because if we don't fix this, then everything, customer service ratings, all that for a venue can actually it can be detrimental to a venue. And so we really look for the right partnerships. Just like you look for the right investors, we look for the right partnerships.
That's really well said. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of the same things in the hotel space, and like MCR Hotels is a big partner of ours, and also they ended up investing and took a board seat with us. And so they've also shared with us, hey, here's where parking fits into our overall picture.
Yep.
It's a small piece of our puzzle, but it can drive some NOI. We can lean on it for ancillary revenue. We can use it for X, Y, and Z. But as you were just saying, customer service and our guest satisfaction is going to be a higher priority. So how do we use parking and these reservation channels and Ocra to attract a different type of customer that doesn't impede upon our other goals and initiatives, but is more complementary?
Yeah.
So as an emerging leader of our industry in the future, what are the challenges that you see in the near future and out?
Aside from people not wanting to collaborate and, not play nice in the
that's a
sandbox.
big challenge.
Well, it is a big challenge, but
let's face it.
Probably the biggest.
But I think it's going to go away as the younger generation and the younger entrepreneurs and the people that can see past the kind of silo mentality, as you said.
Yeah. And ultimately, that was a larger problem 3 years ago for us when we were getting started. Now we pretty much have all the rebuttals to the objections that they'll have. And, hey, what are you able to do? What can't you do? How can we work together to get from point A to point B so that our partners, our mutual customers are happy?
Right.
That's ultimately, we've gotten better at that. And we have different ways that we can build integration. Every single integration we have is custom. We don't have one set standard that we push upon everyone. We know that we have to come in and meet them where they're at.
That's a lot of lifting.
Yeah. It's a lot. We have an outstanding engineering team, and they all do a tremendous job and work that I could never even imagine that they pull off.
Are they U.S. based or?
Wow, yep, okay. They're all U.S. based. So nice. 6 engineers in house, and they do the impossible.
That's great.
That's amazing.
So I have another question.
Go for it.
So
on fire.
You've got a couple years under your belt now. What you've cycled through all the shows, and like, what's your favorite time of year? What is the favorite show? What is it?
I will get in trouble if I share that. I will take the agnostic Switzerland card.
Yeah. So you're going to say all of the shows?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what show I really like? I like SWAPTA a lot.
Yeah.
I like the more intimate shows. But I mean, I love my IPMI and MPA as well, obviously. But have you ever been to SWAPTA?
I have.
Have you been to SWAPTA?
Yes.
It's usually held in Vegas.
So I'll answer that politically then. I'll answer for you. So we like all the shows because they're unique and they have their own personality, and there's things that we like about those shows that are unique to each individual show. Oh, that's why I like all the shows.
Wow, such a great answer, John. Wow.
Fuck do you think of that?
You always miss it.
Well, I miss it on purpose. You got to hear some of it, right?
Yeah. Okay. I have a question.
Okay.
What is your most memorable moment in parking? Not like aside from, obviously getting your funding, going, it was Long Beach Accelerate that you got your funding from the first time, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so outside of all of, those really big moments, but like what is like one moment that comes to your mind?
So the first thing that flashed my mind is actually when we were doing parking operations.
Yeah.
And we had this one home that we were collecting keys for and trying to valet everything. and I got a call because I was on the other side of the Coliseum at another lot we had, and one of our team members goes, "Ethan, we have a problem." I said, "Yeah, what happened?"
Whoa.
Yeah, turns out we forgot to take one of the keys for the car that was in front of everything.
God, valet.
And because of that, it blocked in 12 cars behind.
Oh, no.
And we had this surgeon who was looking to leave immediately. And so there was a lot of impetus. So I ran a mile and a half around the Coliseum to get there. And luckily, I was still in pretty good shape from soccer. And so I get over there and, we have a few of our parking attendants around, and Leo is explaining to me what happened, and the homeowner's explaining. And we're trying to figure out how to move this one car because we found out that if we do something here, we can move everything else a little bit. And the homeowner goes, "Okay, I'm going to go get 10 other people around the block, and we're going to lift up this one Corolla."
What? Really?
Oh my God.
And so he told me, he's like, "Ethan, you get in the guy's BMW and help drive it out." And he goes, and I kid you not, they lifted the car just enough so that I can inch out. And I mean, it was within paint scratching territory. And we barely got the car out. Afterwards, we were all just sitting there for a little bit trying to figure out what had just happened. But that is the first moment that comes to me of what a crazy parking story.
I
I'm
think
sure
that takes the cake of anything.
Oh,
the
yeah.
surgeon's got to go do
It's
emergency
like,
surgery.
one of the things I always say, I'm like, we're just in parking. We're not like saving lives, but you literally, he was
That
probably
was
trying to
saving-
save someone's life.
that was saving lives.
You were a part of
That's pretty
that. That is wild.
That's that goes. Yeah, that's
Talk about community. Like that's a community right there.
that's a good thing they
Definitely.
weren't waiting
Yeah.
for me to run around that stadium. They'd be fucking person would be dead. Although I did run marathons back in the day, but yeah, that was a long time
So
ago.
then you probably could have done it.
Not any time
I mean, it's
recently.
one
When was this?
1.5 miles. So.
2019.
2019?
Oh.
Nah. Person would have died.
Oh, crickets. It's not funny, by the way.
No, it's not
totally
funny.
not
The
funny.
person was saved. Luckily, it was you
Lifting a
and
car.
not me. And you were
Good thing it
in
was-
shape from
good-
soccer.
Good thing it was a Corolla.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what we were all saying afterwards.
That story goes. That goes into the top 5. I've heard a lot of good stories. That's a good story.
Yeah, that is absolutely.
What
I
else
can't
do we
believe
got
that.
here, Danny? Come on.
All right, so I I didn't know that we had this in common, but soccer. I played collegiate soccer.
I didn't know that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, my time was very short lived because I tore my ACL twice.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
Ouch.
yeah, not very fun. But do you still play soccer? Are you still?
I do.
Yeah. Man U fan.
Yes. How did you
Okay.
know?
I did my research.
Okay.
All
fair.
right. Who's your favorite player of all time? Like not now, but like, or if it's now, great. But
Ryan Giggs, former Man United player.
stop.
Really?
Yeah, that's my answer too. No,
Unbelievable.
so I didn't tell you. I'm not as much of a Man U fan today, but huge Man U fan. All throughout college recently, and so Ryan Giggs. Yeah. I'm a Ryan Giggs fan, and a Robin van Persie fan because
Okay.
Robin van Persie, is just you cannot be a fan without that name, right?
Yeah, the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah. I always say, I'm like, the next dog I adopt, I'm going to name him Robin van Persie. And my current dog, his name's Axel, but we call him Sir Axel
Nice. Okay.
for Sir Alex Ferguson. So
That's unbelievable. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we'll have to watch some games together.
Yeah, we'll start a parking soccer league.
There you go. I mean, it'd be very unfair to probably everybody else, but we can. We'll talk about that offline.
So Ethan, I think it's we're getting close to wrapping up, but really appreciate you being here, coming to Denver for the first time. Do you have anything else planned? Like anything special?
Number of meetings.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, enjoy Denver. It's great. I think it's we've told just a little bit of the story here, and hopefully people can get some stuff out of it. But it's so nice. I mean, it's so nice to have you here. You're just a great person. I mean, I've talked to you before, and we wish you the best, and anything we can do to help, we're certainly here. Are you going to participate at all in the event that Kevin Uhlenacher is with the young
And Accelerate?
Accelerate?
So I'm one of the judges for it.
Oh, you
Nice.
are. That's awesome.
So the winner is going to come on this show, talk about their whatever their idea is. So we're looking forward to that.
Yep.
Possibly we'll be there.
Possibly. It's in like 1 week.
I know, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So
No, we're really looking forward to it. Yeah.
are you going to Inner Traffic at all?
Not planning on it right now.
You should plan on it.
Where's that?
Danny's going to be there.
Amsterdam.
Danny's going to be in rare form at Inner Traffic, interviewing everybody she can. Got the little microphone for
You're
her.
going to be there too.
I am.
Yeah. It's not just me.
Yeah, I know.
So
Yeah,
it's
you'll
in
be-
Amsterdam. It should be a good
You'll
time.
be cooler than I am, though.
I've
right?
never been out. Like
I've
I've never been to
there
Amsterdam.
either.
I've never been to
I've
Inner
never been
Traffic. So
I was going to be at Inner Traffic, and COVID hit, and I was very disappointed.
I think everybody was, John.
I know.
So not just you. Don't worry. You're not alone in that one.
So, do you have any parting words for the all the listeners?
Just thank you both for having me. I've been a big fan of the podcast so far, and if I can be any help, please let me know. And any rising entrepreneurs in parking or just people looking to grow in the industry, let me know. I've benefited a lot from the community of parking and learning from everyone else. So if I can help at all, I am more than happy to do so.
Totally.
Hey, we appreciate you making the trip, Ethan, and we look forward to seeing
We wish
what you
so much
do and
success.
where Ocra goes. And
We wish you all the success, and you're already there, and you'll be there, so you'll be even further. So thank you very much.
Don't forget about us little people over here, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I could never.
Thank you, Ethan.
All right.
Thanks.